Hi everyone, my name's Susan and my channel is Shopping with Sue, and I've had a few people ask me to make a video about Hanukkah since I don't celebrate Christmas. So I'm going to make two videos. One is about the history of why we celebrate Hanukkah, and the second video will be about how we celebrate Hanukkah. So let's start with back in around 200 BC, which is when the story of Hanukkah occurred. The Syrians, who were hand in hand with the Greeks and just adored the Greek customs, tried to force the Jews that were living in Israel at the time, Israel/Judea, tried to force them to adopt the Greek customs. And that they absolutely did not want them to do anything Jewish that they were supposed to do, like observe the Sabbath or any of the other things that were in the Ten Commandments that God told the Jews they needed to do. So what happened was a small group of people decided to revolt against King Antiochus was his name. He was the king that was really suppressing the Jews at that time. And they rose up and had a rebellion, and it was a lot of what we would call today guerrilla warfare, and they beat the king and his army because the king wasn't expecting it. So it's really like it was a great victory, and this holiday is all about freedom. And in a way, I mean, really, it is about freedom of religion. It's about being able to worship the way you want to worship. But back then, it was specifically because the Jews were like, no way, we're not going to give up our culture and our beliefs. So, but one of the things that the nasty king had done is he had defiled the Jewish temple. And if you know your Bible at all, Jewish Bible or Christian Bible, in the Old Testament, the temple was, God had told Moses he wanted this beautiful temple built and it had to have certain things in it. And one of the things that was in it was called a menorah. Now, a menorah is not actually what we use at Hanukkah, but a lot of people call it a menorah. But what we use at Hanukkah, which is something that looks like this, it's actually called a Hanukkah or Hanukkah. And it's got 9 branches, whereas the original menorah had 7 branches. And I just wanted to show you a picture so you could see the difference. It's a little hard to see, but if you look, it's yellow. Yeah, I don't know if you could see that. Well, anyway, it had 7 branches, and it's also biblical. God had told Moses that the temple should have a menorah in it that had 7 branches to represent the 7 days of creation, among other things, and that it was very important and that it should always be burning. So a lot of temples today either have a menorah in them or they have what's called like an everlasting light, a ner tamid it's called. But after what happened was, back to the story of Hanukkah, King Antiochus had really defiled and ruined this beautiful Jewish temple, the temple in Jerusalem that God had told Moses to build. The Jewish people to build, and he defiled it by slaughtering pigs in it, because back then Jews did not ever eat pork, because it wasn't considered, healthy to eat pork, or religiously you just didn't eat pork. These days, a lot of Jewish people eat pork, and it's just really very religious people who don't. But anyway, back then, so he killed pigs, put pig's blood all over the place, wrecked the place, and knocked down the menorah and broke all the vials of holy blessed oil that were supposed to be used in the menorah. Now, the menorah back then, according to the specifications in the Bible, it was supposed to be about 5 or 6 feet tall and used a special oil that was blessed by the priests who were in the temple priests. So what happened was, after Judah Maccabee, he was the big hero who led the rebellion against Antiochus. After Judah Maccabee and his soldiers beat Antiochus and basically kicked him out of Judea/Israel at the time, don't forget this is 200 BC, they went to clean up the temple. And when they went to clean up the temple and rededicate it, which is what Hanukkah means, the word Hanukkah means rededication. And when they went to clean it up, they only found 1 jar of oil that was blessed and holy. And they had to wait to get some new oil shipped in, or however they did it, I don't know. So they were really distraught because they said they only had enough oil to burn for one night. And the story of Hanukkah is that the oil burned for 8 nights. So after, to celebrate that holiday back then, they decided to create a new menorah that had 8 candle holders on it for the 8 nights that the miracle of the oil burned, and then an extra one for the candle that you use to light the other candles. Okay, so this is a Hanukkah, and it has 9 branches, and the original menorah had 7 branches. So, but mainstream culture has just called this a menorah, and even at school, when we make these at school, I'm a teacher, in case you don't know me. I work in a temple preschool. I even call them menorahs, because that just, even though it is a Hanukkah, most people these days just still call it a menorah. So anyway, it is more than semantics, but okay, so that's the history. That's the main part of the story of Hanukkah. So it really is a freedom festival. It's about being able to worship however you want. And of course, in that instance, it was about being able to maintain your Jewish identity and culture and religion. So what happened, though, is over the thousands of years, hundreds of thousands, however many years it was, other traditions evolved. And the reason that the story of Hanukkah is not in the Bible, Jewish or Christian, is because it happened after the Torah was written. The Torah is your Christian Old Testament. So that's why Hanukkah itself is not in the Bible, but God telling Moses to build the original menorah, the 7-branch menorah, that is in the Bible. So what happened was, but this is something historical that did actually happen, the story of Hanukkah. So what happened was, over the years, hundreds and hundreds of years and thousands of years, different things came out of the culture, different ways of celebrating this holiday. So what I want to just show you tonight is the different kind of, let's call it a Hanukkah, because that's what they are. So they have 9 branches, and then the helper candle. So the helper candle is the one you use to light the other candles. So you don't use matches to light the Hanukkah candles. You only use matches to light the helper candle, and then that one lights the other ones. And the helper candle, the Hebrew word for it is shamash, which means helper. Now, a Hanukkah can look basically like anything, as long as it has 8 candle holders and a holder for the helper candle. So this is just a really basic one. I actually got this one at Walmart. I really like it. It was very inexpensive, but I think it's very traditional, and it's just really, I like it because I think it's beautiful. This is, I guess, another kind, and you'll notice that the shamash candle is higher than the other candles, the helper candle, because it's the helper candle. It's not one of the traditional ones here. But it also can look, they make them for children now. My Dollar Tree people, you'll like this one. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? I actually bought this one for myself. Look at that. It's a princess castle. And if you look at the back, look at how the candle holders are crowns. Isn't that cool? And here's the helper candle. But look at the gems on that. I was like, oh, I'll take that. I'll take that one. And then I also bought this one for myself because I just love this. I thought it was so beautiful. I've told you guys I love glass. And they were selling this at our temple gift shop. And I just thought it was very beautiful. Now this one, the helper candle, is just slightly raised. Sometimes they're even all level, but there's something else to differentiate the helper candle. So a couple more things about the story of Hanukkah I'll just tell you about, and then I'll finish this video. But there is a game that you play during Hanukkah called dreidel, and I'll show you that in the next video. But there is a story that when King Antiochus was suppressing the Jewish people before Judah Maccabee started fighting him, that there were people who were studying the Torah, and They didn't want to get caught, because if you got caught studying the Torah / Bible, you would be killed or tortured or have terrible things happen to you. So what they would do is, when they would hear the soldiers coming, they would put the Torahs away really quickly and get out the dreidels to play the game of dreidel. Dreidel is a little top. And that it was a way of pretending like they were not really, well, we weren't really studying the Torah. We were just playing dreidel. So anyway, but we'll talk more about dreidel in the celebration video. So that's the history of Hanukkah. Now, I will tell you something about Hanukkah before I finish this video, which is Hanukkah was not a big holiday at all. It's actually one of the minor Jewish holidays, and it really has only become big in America because people celebrate Christmas to such a big degree, and Hanukkah falls during the month of December. Now, the Jewish calendar is different from the regular calendar, which is why you may or may not know, but the Jewish holidays fall on different days every year in the regular calendar that everyone uses. Because the regular calendar, January, February, March, that whole calendar is a solar calendar. It's based on the sun, and the Jewish calendar is a lunar calendar. So it's based on the moon. I believe the Muslim calendar is also a lunar calendar. So what happens is the days come out different every year. And but since Hanukkah falls in December, when Christmas is, and since Christmas in the last 40 or 50 years has become so huge, Hanukkah has become much bigger. So that I think really it's because of the children. It's hard to be a Jewish kid during Christmas. It just is. And Jews don't celebrate Christmas because it's a Christian, religious-based holiday. It's based on religion. Hanukkah's based on a military coup, basically, that had nothing to do with God. Unless you believe in the miracle of Hanukkah. And it just doesn't even compare to what Christmas is. Christmas is talking about the birth of Jesus and of the Christian Savior. And it's of course it's become commercialized, but it's such a huge, huge holiday, whether you celebrate it religiously or not. But Jews do not celebrate Christmas because it's a religious holiday and it's not part of our religion. So you may know some Jewish friends who have a Christmas tree, or who, maybe their kids have Santa come, because it's, like I said, it's really hard for Jewish kids during Christmas. Let me just take a drink real quick. So Hanukkah has become big in this country to compete with Christmas. And maybe it's not just for Jewish kids. I think it's for Jews in general to help us feel more a part of things. And although sometimes Hanukkah can be at the beginning of December instead of the end of December, but this year it's at the end of December, and I actually prefer that. I do like celebrating when everyone else is celebrating. So in Israel, and I lived in Israel for 4 years, I went to college there, Hanukkah's just not a big deal. It's a fun holiday, and maybe you get some presents, but it's just not a big deal like it is here. And given that we live in America, and it is a whole different society than other places in the world, I think it's good that Hanukkah's become bigger. I mean, that's my opinion. I think it's wonderful that we can get Hanukkah cards now, just about anywhere, and even now at Dollar Tree. I was just thrilled at this beautiful card somebody sent me. And Hanukkah decorations and Hanukkah lights, and it's so much more fun to be a part of things. And there are a lot of people, my daughter included, who married someone not Jewish. Neither one of them are religious, but they're celebrating both holidays. They're celebrating the secular part of that was a Freudian slip. The secular part of Christmas and the secular part, Hanukkah really is a secular holiday. Within the Jewish faith, it is. So Judaism has a lot of other holidays that are extremely religious, and where all you do is go to temple and pray all day. And but this Hanukkah is not. So it's really become big because of this country, but I'm enjoying the benefits of that. I mean, I remember 30 years ago, there were just no Hanukkah decorations. You had nothing. And now it's amazing. Party City has a huge whole section on it. And I think it's wonderful. I just really do. Everybody celebrates to the degree they want to, but I think it's great. Oh, let me show you one more menorah. Hanukkah. Because this one's really weird. Look at this one. Let me see. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's the helper candle. I actually bought this for one of my daughters. It's like a sculpture. And this is also a Hanukkah. Okay, so that's the end of video number 1. And I hope you learned something and enjoyed. I hope it wasn't too long and wordy. I did get into my teacher mode. It's true. Okay, here comes number 2, which is definitely a lot more fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Love you guys. Bye.